Oh, so I come back from France and almost immediately, I mean, not when I got home from the airport that night, but within a couple of days, got a call from Stone Stanley, and they had produced a pilot while I'd been gone. How dare they? Called "I Can't Believe You Said That," and my old friend Mark Summers was producing it. And Mark had moved from host to producer and did a nice job. I Can't Believe You Said That. Yes, another relationship show, if you can believe it. And I had just done a show called Family Secrets, which I was the only show I took a writer credit on. Why did I take a writer credit? Why would I take a writer job? Two reasons: Bob and Eubanks. No, Bob Eubanks was hosting it, and I love working with Bob. And it was a Writers Guild job. All these other shows that I'm talking about, and include all the Stone Stanley shows, none of them are Writers Guild signatories, so I wasn't getting any Writers Guild money for my pension, which I need now. So it was a Writers Guild gig. It was for ABC. That's why it was an ABC show. And Family Secrets was simply, how, again, just like I'm telling with kids, just like Newlywed Game with newlyweds, it's how well the parents know their kids, how well do the kids know their parents. You take the kids off stage as parents, you take the parents off stage as kids. So Bob Eubanks did the Family Secrets version, which I loved because what was nice about that show, and same thing with I Can't Believe You Said That, it was a totally controllable show. And by that, I mean, with Newlywed Game or Dating Game, you were locked into Bob asking the question and them responding immediately. Okay, with Family Secrets and I Can't Believe You Said That, I would take the kids, say, off stage. I don't remember the whole gameplay, but they would answer the question backstage with me and then reveal while the parents were being asked the question, and the kids would then come out and answer, which gave me time to get an acceptable answer out of the kids without them being hard pressed. That was the worst part of it. I'm telling you, if a kid can't come up with an answer and he's on TV, he's scared to death. This way, with the kids backstage coming up, when it comes to your mother's overall appearance, what part of her body do you think is maybe too big for her body? And so I would take the kids back, and that way I could say, what do you think? Is her nose too big? Is her legs too big? And at this point in time, we lived down. We shot the show in Orlando, and again, I loved Orlando. I'd just been there for Legends, and I knew my way around, of course. And Eubanks had not been there as a host, and we all lived in the same hotel. And Bob and I would have dinners together and stuff like that, and it was pretty neat. But lost my place. Going back to the show, Bob, at some point, we were talking, I guess, Newlywed Game, and he had refuted the idea that in the butt Bob had ever happened on Newlywed Game. And he was right. It hadn't. It was in the ass. And that I had forgotten. But I knew that we had asked the show. I mean, I was there, and maybe because I was in my 20s and Bob was in his, I guess, 40s. Sorry, Bob, if you were in your 30s, but I don't think, you were in your 40s. He's 90. So Bob at that point never thought he knew he'd ever asked the question, and I did. So we're on that question. And I would never force anybody to answer a question that they didn't want to answer. But luckily, we were talking about body parts, and this one kid on his own, said, yeah, my mom's, I forget what euphemism he said, or tushy, whatever you say, or but whatever. But her posterior was the answer. And then I asked the other kid, and I said, I know I said this. I said, well, do you agree with Jimmy? Do you think your mom's butt is too big for her body? And the kid agreed. I said, again, you can pick any part of her body. It's totally up to you. You think that's what you think the answer should be? And again, it was so much easier to do that on those kind of shows because again, yeah. So I said, all right. Well, the easiest way to say that is, when Bob says, what part of her body, simply say, that would have to be the butt, Bob. So I fed that to them purposely for Bob. So, because Bob didn't believe it ever happened. And, for years, people were in the butt, Bob, in the butt, Bob. So now the kids go out. Bob asks a question in the butt, Bob, and Bob, that'll be the butt, Bob, and Bob stares me down, just off camera. He looked at me because through a series of circumstances, I kind of wound up producing that show. But Bob never gets angry, or I think he never gets angry at me, or he would have when we did Flash Frame in 1980, whatever, or even $1 a second, which was not that much fun for us. But no, Bob being true, he went ahead with it, but he still didn't believe it. I mean, it wasn't until he actually saw the clip a few years later that he actually, oh my God, they really did say in the ass. But, in fairness to Bob, I did 525 Newlywed Games. Bob has done
thousands,
3,000 episodes. I mean, think about it, through the years, how could he remember, even though it's an iconic sort of question now, we had so many odd,
I mean, you don't remember everything you did in every episode you did.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember
cool.
Every single thing I did. I remember every time I went to the bathroom and every Diet Coke I ever drank. No, of course not. You can't remember everything. Like I forget what the hell I'm talking about. 2 shows at once. So that was Family Secrets, and I can't believe you said that was basically the same format. Parents, kids, how well they know each other. Except now I'm working with Mark Summers, and our host was a gentleman by the name of John Sally. And John, very tall, very athletic, and very good at basketball. He played for the LA Lakers at that point. Wonderful guy, had never hosted a show and always wanted to, and immensely likable. And people just gravitated towards him. He just had that kind of personality. And, I'm complimenting a lot of people, JD, Pat, all the, they're all lovable hosts, but John was different in that people wanted to hang out with John, and, he just had that kind of winning personality. And for whatever reason, Mark is Summers is, absolutely, one of the best hosts at facilitating any kind of show or any project. You look at him on any of his Food Network shows, okay? Unwrapped does a phenomenal job, although granted a lot of it is voiceover. He's pretty much producing Double Dare along with my old runner, Peter Hershko, I believe, is one of the producers, or at least was. He was a runner over at Stone Stanley last time I saw him. But Mark's job was really to work with John Sally and turn him into a host. But some people, as good as John was, I always say this, and I've said it to you, Bob Eubanks did the Newlywed Game better than any other host I can imagine. I mentioned him, and Jim Lang's a good host, but he couldn't do the Newlywed Game the way Bob did. And John Sally, as good a host as he might have become, he couldn't right off the bat become Bob Eubanks and know when to go digging or how to go digging. Because again, with kids, you got to buddy up to them and be another kid to, hang out. At some point, again, I'll put I'm Telling up on YouTube, and you can watch me messing around with kids. But so the show didn't work as much as Mark worked his butt off trying to get John, and I'm not blaming John, and I'm certainly not blaming Mark. And perhaps it was the contestants, perhaps it was just the way we produced it. It never gelled. Although, again, we got all the answers ahead of time, and not unlike Love Connection, we made a lot of phone calls to them ahead of time, likewise, to get information that we could use for the questioning. Again, I don't remember it that well because in my mind's eye, it went by very quickly. I mean, I barely remember us working on it, even though it was one of the last shows I produced with Mark. But yeah, and two, our staff, I was used to having Dennis and Todd and all the regular Stone Stanley folks. But in my absence in France, Stone Stanley, for I Can't Believe You Said That, because they had other shows going on at the same time. I Can't Believe You Said That had all fledgling segment producers, all people that Mark and I had never worked with rather, and mostly interns turned into, they were all like 19, 20-year-olds, and they didn't have the background to help facilitate, getting the kids and the families to open up. So it was okay. And that's about it. Of all the Stone Stanley shows I worked on, that was the
least memorable.
Okay, I'll buy that. Least memorable, since I can't seem to remember much of it. Yeah, it just and perhaps too, the premise had been done just so many times. I did it 4 times, 5, 6 times. It might have just been timing. Honestly, I don't even remember what network it was on, but I'll bet you do. Anyway, it was probably less than 13 weeks in and out. At the same time that we were doing I Can't Believe You Said That, Scott and David were also doing a show with Bobcat Goldthwait called Bobcat's Big Ass Game Show. And that was doing better. And who knows, maybe I Can't Believe You Said That suffered because Scott and David were not as involved with I Can't Believe You Said That and more involved with Bobcats. Maybe it was, they're that good. Anyway, so we finished I Can't Believe You Said That. David Sidenfeld, who was producing Bobcat, had to go somewhere, and they said, David, we got 3 episodes left, or 3 or 4 or 5, I don't know, but they said, David, you got to go in, you got to produce the last few episodes. Whoa, time out. You got 4 segment producers who've been working on the entire season. They can produce it. No, we need a head producer. I said, yeah, but I haven't even met Bobcat. I said, well, you meet him the day of. So, so I was going to be there the last day of taping of their shows, new producer. And so I had to get caught up. I had to speed up and kind of take over. Luckily, one of the segment producers was pretty much married to me on the side, walking me through, because it was very involved. it was Bobcat, and he had his sidekick, can't remember his name. And then there were 2 models, Wing and Ding, who played a part in the various stunts of the show. Again, it was one day out of my life. I don't know if I got a credit. I suppose I did, but it was very odd, producing a show that I had never seen, that I knew nothing about, that had been in production all this time. And for the last final day, before they wrapped and before the wrap party, some old Jewish guy from New York is coming in and taking over. And so I did it, and we made it through, and the shows actually turned out very well. I won't say necessarily thanks to me, but at least I didn't muck them up. Hopefully the show itself ran. So that went very well.